On the morning of the 9th of August 1945, the air raid alert went off over Nagasaki at 10 minutes to 8, and the all clear sounded at 8:30. So people went back to work. At the cathedral in the Urakami Valley, north of the city, the curate was hearing confessions. His name was Fusayoshi Tamaya. The Feast of the Assumption was 6 days away, so there were people waiting. The parish priest, Saburo Nishida, was about to come in to make his own confession. At 3 minutes to 11, 2 American aircraft were seen over the city. Nobody sounded an alarm. 2 planes was not a raid. 2 planes meant reconnaissance, and the city had been photographed before. The last siren those people heard was the one telling them it was over. The aircraft had not come for Nagasaki. It had taken off that morning for Kokura, about 95 miles north, where the Japanese army kept one of its largest arsenals. That had been the primary target for weeks, but Kokura was covered. The strike log records the aiming point obscured by heavy haze and smoke, some of it, historians think, from a firebombing raid the day before. The bomber made 3 runs over the city. The log records the outcome in 7 words. At no time was the aiming point seen. A fuel transfer pump had failed before takeoff, stranding hundreds of gallons the crew could not reach. So it turned south to its secondary target, named in its orders. Nagasaki. Nagasaki was covered too. They came in on radar, which their orders did not permit. Then a gap opened in the cloud. The bombardier saw ground and he released. He missed. The aiming point was the Mitsubishi Works in the industrial district. The bomb went off between 1.5 miles and 2 miles northwest of it, over the Urakami Valley. Now, Urakami was not an empty place, and it matters that we say so. The valley held major war industry, the Mitsubishi Steel and Arms Works and the Ordnance Works, and the bomb detonated roughly between them. But the aiming point was 2 miles south. What stood underneath where it actually went off was a hill, a river, a few thousand houses, and the largest Catholic community in Japan. Nobody was aiming at them. That is the part that is hard to hold. Before we go further into what happened to those people, it is worth being clear about what the Church herself says, because she has said it, and she said it to everybody. 20 years after that morning, the Second Vatican Council put this sentence into a document on the Church in the modern world. Any act of war aimed indiscriminately at the destruction of entire cities or of extensive areas along with their population is a crime against God and man himself. It merits unequivocal and unhesitating condemnation. That is the Council in 1965. It does not name a city, and it is not our place to name one for it. It states a principle, and it leaves the work of applying it to the reader. We are going to do what the film can honestly do, which is show you what was there. The people in that valley were not new. In February of 1597, 26 Christians were crucified in a row on a hill above Nagasaki harbor. 3 of them were boys. The church canonized them in 1862. Their feast is the 6th of February. In 1644, the last missionary priest in Japan was killed, and after that, there was no priest in the country at all. And the faith did not stop. For 221 years, these families baptized their own children and passed the prayers down by mouth, without a book. While once a year, the authorities made them prove they were not Christians by trampling on an image of Christ. Then, in 1865, a woman walked into a new church in Nagasaki, told the French priest there that her heart was the same as his, and asked him where they kept the statue of Mary. That is a different film, and it is linked below this one. What matters here is what they did next. When the ban was lifted, they built a church, and they chose the ground deliberately. They bought the property of the village headman, the house where the annual trampling ceremony had been held, generation after generation by the family that administered it. They built on that exact spot. They did it themselves over decades, and they were not a wealthy people. The church was consecrated in 1914. The twin bell towers finished in 1925, and it was then one of the largest churches in Asia. Above the main altar, they set a wooden statue of the Immaculate Conception, carved in Italy. By 1945, the Catholic population of the valley is given as between 12 and 16,000, depending on which record you take. And that disagreement is going to matter shortly. One line belongs in the record before we go back to the morning. When the Target Committee ranked the candidate cities in May, Kyoto stood at the top of the list, and the Secretary of War took it off, because it was the ancient capital and a center of Japanese art and culture, and he did not want it bombed. At 11:02, the bomb detonated about 1,600 feet above the valley. The cathedral stood about 500 meters from the point directly below the burst. The hills shielded the districts beyond the ridges, which is why the destruction was so concentrated in Urakami, and why parts of Nagasaki on the other side came through comparatively intact. Both bell towers came off the church. The southern one collapsed inward. The northern one went over the cliff into the stream below, and it is still lying there, in the water, where it fell. Father Tamaya was in the confessional. Father Nishida was coming in to make his confession. Neither of them, nor the parishioners waiting inside, is thought to have known anything about it. The community that had kept the faith for 221 years without a priest lost both of its priests and its church in about a second. How many of them died does not have a clean answer, and I would rather say so than give you a number that sounds certain. The published figures disagree at the source. Some put the dead at 8,500, others at 9,500 or 10. The populations they are counted against differ too. You cannot responsibly take one of those numbers and divide it by another. They count different areas and different lengths of time because people went on dying for months. What every account agrees on is that the majority of the Catholics of Urakami were killed along with tens of thousands of their neighbors. The reason the record is not better is simple and grim. The parish registers were kept in the parish. The unit that flew both atomic missions had a Catholic chaplain. His name was George Zabelka. In August of 1945, he was on Tinian as chaplain to the 509th Composite Group. He said Mass for those men. He heard their confessions. He blessed them. Afterwards, an airman who had seen Nagasaki described it to him. It took Zabelka about 20 years to work out what he thought, and he spent the rest of his life saying it in public. He became a pacifist, one who rejected the just war tradition altogether, which is his own position and not the church's. He died in 1992. These next words are his, not ours. I never preached a single sermon against killing civilians to the men who were doing it. If a soldier came to me and asked if he could put a bullet through a child's head, I would have told him, absolutely not. He went to Japan and asked the survivors of the bombings to forgive him, and in an address he gave on the 40th anniversary, he said this: "All I can say today is that I was wrong." Among the people who lived was a doctor named Takashi Nagai. He was a convert, and he ran the radiology department at the medical college. He was already dying when the bomb fell. Leukemia from years of working with X-rays before anyone understood what they cost. His wife Midori had been at home in the valley. 2 days later, he went to find her. What was left of her was in the kitchen. In among it was her rosary. The beads scattered, the metal cross still whole, lying where her hand had been. From that, he understood that she had died praying it. He carried her out in a bucket and buried her, and he wrote down what he prayed. He thanked God for letting her die praying, and the Mother of Sorrows for being with her at the hour of her death. He had about 6 years left. He spent them writing in a hut on the ground where the house had stood. On the 23rd of November 1945, they held a requiem mass in the open air in front of the ruins for the Catholic dead. Nagai was asked to speak, and he told the survivors that what had happened to them was a sacrifice, not a punishment. He was insistent about that, and it matters because punishment was the other reading available to those people. He used the word hanzai, a whole burnt offering. He said Urakami had been chosen the way a spotless lamb is chosen, and that the offering had brought the war to an end. Many could not accept it. To be told that the deaths of your entire family were an offering God had received is not, for everyone, a comfort. And there is a harder objection about what happened to his words afterwards. The occupation censored reporting on the bombings, and it censored Nagai too. But historians, among them Tomoe Otsuki, argue that once his book was out, the authorities found a Catholic doctor calling Nagasaki a sacrifice useful, and that his became the loudest voice from that city while its memory was being fixed. There is a proverb in Japan about the two bombed cities, Hiroshima of anger, Nagasaki of prayer. Whether that brought real healing or helped quiet a memory somebody else preferred quiet is still argued about by Catholics in Nagasaki. The Church has never ruled on it. His theology of the bomb is his own and not hers. We are not going to settle it here either. In November of 2019, a pope stood in the rain at the Hypo Center, a few hundred meters from where that church had been, and said this: "This place makes us deeply aware of the pain and horror that we human beings are capable of inflicting upon one another." And one more thing came out of the ruins. A Trappist monk called Keimon Noguchi came to the site to pray. He had been born in Urakami. When he opened his eyes, he saw a face in the rubble. Scorched black, the eyes burned hollow. And he knew it, because he had grown up looking at it. It was the head of the Virgin from above the altar. He took it to his monastery in Hokkaido and prayed in front of it for 30 years. In 1975, he brought her back to Nagasaki, and she passed between other hands for 30 more before she went home. Since 2005, she has stood in the rebuilt cathedral, facing the people, with her eyes burned out. They have never repaired her. If you want the story of how those people kept the faith without a single priest, that film is linked below. This one is its ending.